All right, let's dive into a world that literally sparkles jewelry assembly.
Okay.
We often admire the finished product, right? But ever wonder about the skilled hands behind that shine? We're taking a deep dive into the career of a jewelry assembler with some insights from our friends at RoleCatcher.
It's a craft that's often overlooked, but plays a vital role in creating the jewelry we know and love.
Yeah.
You might be surprised by the level of detail and expertise involved.
Right. It's not just stringing beads on a string. The
Right.
source material actually walks us through a day in the life, and they weren't kidding about those tiny pliers and linking rings.
Yeah.
What exactly are linking rings anyway?
Good point. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's easy to assume everyone knows the lingo. Linking rings are those tiny, delicate rings, almost like miniature keychains,
Hmm.
used to connect different parts of a necklace or bracelet. They're essential for creating that fluid draping effect you see in a lot of jewelry.
Okay, that makes sense. So, using these linking rings, along with other tools, jewelry assemblers are responsible for putting together the final piece.
Exactly. Imagine receiving a tray of sparkling gemstones, clasps, finding those little metal components, and turning them into a stunning necklace based on a design.
Wow.
It requires incredible hand-eye coordination and meticulous attention to detail, not to mention a steady hand.
I bet. The source also mentions something about repairing broken chains that sounds incredibly fiddly.
It can be. Imagine trying to wrangle those tiny, often mismatched links back together, sometimes even needing to solder them without damaging the surrounding metal. It's intricate work that demands a high level of skill and patience.
So we've talked about tiny pliers and microscopic links, but the RoleCatcher source also mentioned some surprisingly high-tech tools in the jewelry assembler's arsenal.
Right.
CAD software, laser cutters. It's not your grandmother's workshop anymore.
It's true. Technology is transforming the industry, and these advancements are changing the game in terms of precision and efficiency.
Yeah.
For instance, with CAD software that's grows out, computer-aided design jewelers
Uh-huh.
can create incredibly intricate designs, virtually almost like digital blueprints.
So instead of sketching out a design by hand, they're creating it on a computer. What are the benefits of that?
It allows for a level of detail and accuracy that's hard to achieve by hand. Plus, changes can be made easily in the digital realm. These designs can then be used to manufacture components with incredible precision using laser cutters, which essentially cut the design out of the metal sheets. It's revolutionized what's possible in jewelry design, especially when you're talking about intricate patterns or very fine details.
That makes sense. And then there's 3D printing, which seems to be popping up everywhere these days. How is that being used in jewelry assembly?
3D printing is a game changer for sure. Imagine creating a prototype of a ring design overnight, complete with intricate settings and engravings.
Mm.
It allows designers to test out ideas quickly and make adjustments before moving to production. It's also being used to print molds for casting, which is the traditional process of pouring molten metal into a mold.
So 3D printing is speeding up the design process and opening up new creative possibilities. That's fascinating. But what does this all mean for the everyday person browsing for jewelry?
Well, for one, it can make unique, custom-designed pieces more accessible. In the past, that level of personalization might have been cost-prohibitive for many, right? Technology is making it possible to create limited runs or even one-of-a-kind pieces at more affordable price points. You're also seeing completely new designs that simply weren't possible before. Think complex geometries, interlocking pieces, even jewelry that incorporates moving parts.
That's incredible. So thanks to these advancements, we have more options, more intricate designs, and potentially more personalized pieces within reach. It really shows how technology can democratize art forms. It's mind-blowing how technology is pushing the boundaries there. But for all the high-tech advancements, at its core, this is still a craft that relies heavily on human skill and artistry, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
A computer can help you design a piece, but it's the human eye that catches a subtle imperfection or the steady hand that brings it all together flawlessly.
Yeah. The RoleCatcher source talks about this balance between technical skill and creativity, and I'm curious to get your take on it. What are some of the biggest rewards and challenges that come with being a jewelry assembler?
Well, the source mentions the repetitive nature of some tasks, like linking hundreds of tiny rings, and that's definitely true. It can be meticulous work and you need a lot of patience.
Right.
But for those who enjoy that level of focus and find a rhythm in the repetition,
Mm-hmm.
it could be almost meditative.
Yeah.
And then there are those aha moments when you finish a complex piece and it all comes together perfectly.
Yeah.
That sense of accomplishment is incredibly rewarding.
It sounds like it takes a certain personality type to really thrive in this field. What would you say are some common misconceptions people might have about a career in jewelry assembly?
One big misconception is that it's all about glamour, you know, working with diamonds and precious metals.
Right.
While that aspect can be exciting, the reality is that it's a craft that requires a lot of hard work, dedication, and constant learning.
Speaking of learning, the RoleCatcher source mentioned the importance of continuous learning in this field. What does that look like in practice?
It's about staying curious. New techniques,
Hmm.
materials, even tools are always emerging. Whether it's attending workshops, experimenting with new tools, or even just following trends on social media, the best jewelry assemblers are lifelong learners.
And there are different paths you can take in this career, right? It's not just limited to assembly work.
Exactly. You might start as an assembler and then discover a passion for design or gemology, the study of gemstones, or even teaching. Some assemblers specialize in a specific type of jewelry, like working exclusively with a certain metal or mastering a particular technique.
So there's room to grow, specialize, maybe even start your own business.
Absolutely. The skills you develop as a jewelry assembler, that eye for detail, precision, and problem solving those, are transferable to so many different areas.
It's inspiring to hear about the passion and dedication behind each piece of jewelry. For our listeners who might be thinking, this sounds like the career for me, RoleCatcher is an incredible resource. They've got interview prep questions tailored specifically to jewelry assembly salary insights for different levels of experience and even connections to related career paths.
It's a fantastic tool for anyone considering this line of work.
Well, we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive, from those tiny linking rings to high-tech laser cutters and the human artistry at the heart of it all. We've learned that jewelry assembly is a blend of precision creativity and a whole lot of patience. It's a field that's constantly evolving with technology opening up new possibilities while the demand for handcrafted quality endures. So, the next time you find yourself admiring a beautiful piece of jewelry, take a moment to appreciate the skilled hands and the meticulous process that brought that sparkle to life. Thanks for joining us.